All right, so for today's lesson 5.3, if you did not fill out the Do Now Google form, please do so. All of the answers to these two questions are on slide 3. So all of the info is here. This is a resource that you guys made as a class last week. So this is available and you'll find all of your answers to these two questions here. Same expectations, make sure that you're responding during class. Save often, you need to submit your own work. If you did not fill out which of these dogs you're currently at today, please do so. Reminder, you must respond during class to be marked as present and your camera needs to be on. If you have not yet done so, I'm going to be showing you the work of someone that I went to high school with, Stephen Judge, really talented artist. He currently is making a living as an animator, selling NFTs as well. So if you have any questions regarding NFTs, getting started in the field, animation, digital art, anything like that, send them over to me so I can send them to him. This slide only applies for seniors. So just as a reminder, make sure your work is in on time today. All right, so in terms of where we're starting, while we can't make movie magic happen on Photopea, we can make some things that are pretty close. So as a light activity today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make an animation of an animal seeing red, kind of like turning evil, you know? There are other uses for these tools, but I figured this would be a fun way to explore them. So you have two choices as your starting point. You can either work off of this image of a wolf, or you can work off of this image of a lion. If you wanna get fancy, you can also choose a third animal of your choice. It needs to be one where you can see both eyes clearly and where the colors in the eyes are evident and that they're clear. If you choose this third option of your choice, just send me the link for which one you want to use. No worries. Message me which one you choose when you have it saved. Again, if you are not sure about this one, just go for one of these two. So either lion or the wolf. I'm going to go with the lion, so I'm going to click on this link. It says to right click, save image as, and hit save. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to click save image as, and I'm going to hit save. So it saves it right to my computer. All right. So this is basically where we're going to start to deviate, where we can either work independently or where you can work with me sharing my screen. This is going to be where the video goes, video we're making right now. Hi. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to photopea.com. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to actually make this only half the size of my screen. I clicked on this button up here in the top right corner. And I'm going to drag this so that way it's its own window. That way I can see the slides and I can see Photopea at the same time. Oops, don't know what's happening here. Cool, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna click File, Open. I'm gonna open this. Keep in mind, if you are watching the video to complete the project, you need to actually do the project as well. I'm gonna probably also add in a project rubric, so just keep an eye on that. So just like the last time we edited pictures of animal eyes, we're gonna use the lasso tool. I'm going to start just by zooming in a little bit on the image. I'm going to move this over so I can see both eyes. Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my lasso tool, just like it says here. I'm going to click on the button at the top, type in lasso, and click lasso select. Now I'm going to trace around the colored part of the eye. If you didn't get it perfect, just undo and try again. Cool. Let's see what we do next. So to select the other eye at the same time, it's going to be a two-hander. With one hand, I'm going to hold down the Shift key on my keyboard. At the same time, with my other hand, I'm going to trace around the second eye with my mouse. So what that looks like, holding down the Shift key on my keyboard with one hand, and now I'm clicking and tracing around at the same time. Cool. If I didn't get that right, I'm just going to undo. Try again, holding down Shift, tracing around the eye. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to color it in little by little. So the first thing I need to do is I need to duplicate my layer. I'm going to right click on my layer, just click duplicate layer. So now I have either something that says layer 1 and background, or I have one that says background copy. Either way, like, it doesn't really matter. It'll just depend on what it's named as. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to build up the red bit by bit inside the selected area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my colors. Let's pretend that I currently have this at black. So I'm going to click on the square that's on top. I'm going to bring this over to red. If you need to like use the slider over here, use the slider over here. I'm just going to bring this, so it doesn't really matter which red you choose. And I'm just going to bring this up here. So it's really all the way in the top right, really intense. And I'm going to hit OK. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to need to select my brush tool. It looks like a paintbrush. I don't think any of us will have any issue finding it. It's right here. If you don't see it, you can always use the search button and the word brush. Just go to brush tool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now change the size of my brush and the opacity. So this is going to mean up at the top of my screen, underneath where it says edit, I'm going to click on this circle. I'm going to bring the size up pretty significantly. So let's bring it to, I don't know, honestly, 200 is also fine. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's like above 150, you can pretty much choose any. And now finally, the last setting I need to change up here is where it says opacity. I'm going to bring it down from 100 to about 15. So that way it's still pretty see-through. And that's what I want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically do one swipe of the red. So I'm just going to color it in. I didn't lift up my mouse. I just colored it in a tiny little bit. You see, it's kind of subtle. It's kind of nice. If you notice that the lasso tool isn't doing the best selection, you can always go back a few steps. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to right click on my layer and I'm just going to hit duplicate layer. And now I'm going to cover it again. So now it's a little bit more opaque. And you can actually see the difference if you click on the little eyeball. Ooh, look at that. That's lovely. So now I'm going to basically do this like 10 to 15 times. I'm going to right click, click duplicate layer, build it up a little bit more. Right click, duplicate layer. And I'm going to literally do this 10 to 15 times and it's going to get pretty fast. So all I need to do is just keep building up this red little by little, kind of like how it's a foundation and I need to just keep building up the color of it. So right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I need at least 10 to 15. So duplicate layer. I don't want to see any of the details in the eyes. Right now, if you look on the right-hand side, I can still see the black of the pupil. I don't want that. I want to have it so that it is completely red on the inside. For each of these, I'm only basically making one layer of red. Goodness, there's still more that I need to cover up. I think we're almost there though. I'm going to do one more just to be safe. But again, the idea is to not be able to see any of the red underneath. So if you want to see what it looked like originally, you can actually just turn the eyeball off on these. And you can basically see how it builds up, you know? It builds up pretty well. So once I have it so that way I can't see anything underneath it, I'm going to move on to our next steps. We need to animate the layers. Right now, I'm on my top layer, the one that's over here. I'm going to hold down the Shift key on my keyboard, just like I did when I was selecting the eyes. And I'm going to click where it says background. So I need to hold down Shift so that way I can select it all. If Shift isn't working, just hold down Control and you can select each one individually. This is why, honestly, I like doing it with Shift. It's a little bit faster. But if Shift isn't working, just click Control instead. So now what I'm going to do once I have all my layers selected, click Layer, click Animation, click Make Frames. You'll notice it changes the name of all of your layers. That's what you want it to do. And now we're just going to assign our names. So I'm going to go to my Text tool. I'm going to go to the bottom left corner. If I had like a black picture, I would probably choose a different color other than black. I cannot see that at all. So I'm just going to select my text to make that a bit bigger. Let's bring that up to, what's that? Oh, I'm silly. I had that on the wrong layer. My bad. I just put it on top so that way I can see. And let's make it all The same size. Cool. I still can't see that. Let me move that over. There we go. All right. So from here, let's save our work. I'm going to zoom out so I can see the whole thing. So I'm going to do File, Save as PSD. And the next slide tells me to do File, Export as. I'm going to hit GIF. You're like, zoom out. Oh, look at that beauty. One last thing that I want to do to make it look even cooler is I'm just going to click Boomerang in the settings. It's going to take a minute to load, and now it's going to do it like a boomerang video. So it goes up and then it goes back down. And then finally, I'm going to hit Save. So now I'm going to go to Google Classroom for 5.3. I'm going to click on Attach or Create, click File, click on Browse, and then just choose your PSD and your GIF from today. You have until 6 today, but if you finish early, you'll be able to leave early. So if you finish early, ask me to check your work before you go. So if you are in a breakout room, that means like come to the main room and ask me to check your work. So that way I know you are good to go and I'll be able to dismiss you. If you just dip early and you don't tell me you're leaving, then you get marked as absent. So don't do that. All right.